Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of BB News. And with Nagelsmann getting sacked by Bayern Munich, a lot of Chelsea fans are coming out and saying this is how a big club operates. In this video, I'm going to explain why their situation is slightly different to what's going on at Chelsea. So guys, before I get into this video, don't forget to give it a like because that helps with the algorithms, and just do some interaction by, talking in the comment section below. And I just want to say as well, I'm going to be doing some podcast series. And it's not only just about Chelsea, it's going to be looking at football history throughout the years. And it's going to be from the 60s right through to present time. And just because a lot of people don't know the history of Chelsea Football Club or other football clubs, to be honest. And a lot of people just see what they on social media, and rather than researching for themselves, they just follow the trend. And it's not good. So please educate yourself by watching this podcast series that I'm going to do. Spread the word as well so that others from other clubs, not just Chelsea, can look at the way that football's evolved in the different clubs, how different clubs fared from the 60s and beyond. Anyway, into this video. So looking at this situation, okay, it's coming as a massive surprise. Nagelsmann with Bayern Munich are just a point behind Dortmund, and okay, it's a big deal in Birmingham, in Germany, because Bayern Munich are used to winning the league by a big margin, and they got a bit of a challenge this year with Dortmund coming up. So Nagelsmann's under a bit of pressure, but they're still probably going to win that league, I think, and they are also into the quarter-final of the Champions League with a big chance of winning it. They play Chelsea, maybe, if Chelsea can beat Real Madrid, so they've got a good chance of getting to the final. So people are saying it's a bit harsh, but other people are coming out and saying this is how a big club acts. They sack the manager, but a big club acts for sacking the manager. But the thing is, it's got nothing to do with football. How can you sack a manager who is second in the league and is in the quarterfinal of the Champions League? It doesn't make sense. And the reason they've quoted is because the last 10 games, they haven't had the desired results. So people are using that to say, look, we've kept a manager who's only had prior to the 3 wins that we had in the draw against Everton, who's only had 3 wins or 4 wins in 16, 17 games, and thinking, yeah, we've got to get rid of this manager. This is how we want to be a big club. This is how we need to act. But here's the difference between what they did and what we did. Look, Bayern Munich are a team or a club run where they've got a director of football. The director of football defines the style of football that this team plays. And any manager who comes into this module has to fit in to this style of play. So it's okay saying, okay, different managers have their different styles and everything else. So they may bring a little bit to the table, a little bit different to the table, but they play to the way that that Bayern play. Maybe that's why Pep didn't stay along for a long time at Bayern, because he didn't play. If you look at the way that the Bayern team played, it was different to the way that he was playing under Barcelona, who incidentally have another style of play. So their style of play is a defined sort of style of play that they have, which any manager coming in will adopt that similar style of play that has been mapped out by whoever the director of football is. Same as Real Madrid. So these teams, okay, they can change manager, but if you look at the way that Real Madrid play, Bayern players, I said, it doesn't differ a great deal from manager to manager. If you take with Chelsea now, we've adopted different ways of playing. So obviously, when we got Jose Mourinho was allowed to adapt to shape his style of play, which was more of a very solid defending with wingers on either side and a big, powerful man in Didier Drogba playing in the side. So he liked muscular, strong players. So even when so we got success with that, but even when Ancelotti came in, Ancelotti tweaked it a bit, but we still had a lot of the players that were there from the days of Jose Mourinho. And what happened after that? We wanted to move in a different direction. So after Ancelotti went, that's when we brought in AVB and brought in a lot of different players. And we brought in these small physical players because Chelsea wanted to be like another Barcelona. So we went away from the big, powerful players to people like the Juan Matas, the Hazards, and people with a bit of technical ability. Okay, so obviously the AVB project didn't work, but because we still had a lot of the other players, the Lampards, the Drogba's there, then Di Matteo was able to take us on to win the Champions League. Then we went on to an interim manager of Benitez, and then Jose Mourinho came back, so we went back to the way of Jose Mourinho style football. So after the second spell with Jose Mourinho, we got in somebody who was kind of similar to him in Antonio Conte. Who was more, again, he was a pragmatic type coach, he was a counter-attacking coach, and that's why it worked, and we were able to win another title. But then, when things went sour with Conte, we then brought in Sarri, totally different type of football, and he was more of a possession-based type football. You know, we ran out of patience with him. We brought in Frank, again, wanted to play a different style of football. So, again, he brought in players to suit his style of football. And when that didn't work, then we brought in Thomas Tuchel. Again, totally different style of football from what we had with Frank Lampard. So I think what the club were trying to do now, enough of this chopping and changing. And since the last time, obviously, we won the league was under Conte, who had a similar style of football to Jose. Since we've been sort of going between different styles and trying to get our identity, we haven't challenged for the title for 5 years. So what we're trying to do on the Potter, we're trying to create a project, they've brought in, not only Potter, they've brought in a football tier above who are trying to define a style of play which will set us up for the future. And that's why it's different. So that's why they want us stick with him, so that they can map out this style of play, give us an identity, give us a culture. Is it going to work? We don't know, you know. And Nagelsmann, interestingly enough, I wouldn't, if Potter did go, I wouldn't mind him, because he's someone who can be a project manager, someone who could stick around and define a style of play, and he can work with Vivell, who he was with before at RB Leipzig. So for me, that can work. But as I said, we're not there yet where we can. In the last 4 or 5 years, the reason it hasn't worked for us is with the chopping and changing, is because, as I said, we've just switched from one style of football to another style of football to this style of football to another style of football, where you don't have that with Bayern Munich, where you don't have that with Real Madrid. As I said, they have a way of playing no matter who the manager is. And so I hope that makes a bit of sense for people are trying to compare the two situations, because, guys, it's totally different. It's a totally different scenario at Chelsea at the moment. So once we do have that identity, then I think, you know, we can be successful by chopping and changing managers who buy into the way that we want to play, and it will work. And it will make us challenge for the league. Okay, people may argue and say, oh yeah, but it worked in the past. But did it really? Did it really? Okay, as I said, we got by with some really good managers. Jose, with 2 seasons. And we've had 2 seasons, we won the league. We had a bit of a break. Then Ancelotti won it. Then we had a little bit of a break. We haven't won like 3 or 4, or we haven't, only between the Jose era right through to his second era where we were challenging a lot, but that's because we had these players who had that mentality already instilled into them. And since then, because we've had all those players, those strong players who sort of carried us and took us through, since they have gone out of the club, the last 5 years haven't brought a lot when it comes to challenging for the league. So that's why, as I said, we need to get this philosophy mapped out, style of play mapped out, and it will work for us, with the chopping and changing. But until then, I don't think it will. Am I talking sense, or do you think I'm talking a load of nonsense? Welcome your opinion and stick it in the comment section below, and I'll see you on the next one. So take care. Bye-bye.